All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into the world of sustainable bioproduction.
Okay.
And to be more specific, we're going to be looking at a company called Fudz.
Right.
And they're really interesting. They're a startup
Hmm.
that is claiming to be pioneering a future sustainable bioeconomy,
Okay.
which is quite a bold claim when you think about it.
It is, yeah.
So I thought maybe we could start by sort of unpacking what that even means, a future sustainable bioeconomy. And then we can dig into what Fudz is doing and how they fit into this whole picture.
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, in essence, when they talk about a sustainable bioeconomy, what they're really talking about is a shift, from traditional manufacturing processes to a system where we're harnessing biological processes to produce a whole range of goods across industries. So everything from the food we eat to, life-saving medicines and everything in between.
So instead of, big factories churning out products, we're talking about using cells to actually make things.
Exactly. Yeah, using cells as like these tiny little factories themselves to,
Hmm.
to produce a whole range of products. And that's really where Fudz comes in. They're developing this really cutting edge bioreactor technology, which is essentially a way to grow cells
Mm.
and use them to produce things.
Hmm. That sounds pretty sci-fi, to be honest.
It does sound a bit futuristic, but it's becoming a reality. And what's particularly interesting about Fudz is that they're not just focused on one specific application of this technology. Um, their research actually spans quite a wide range of areas. So they're looking at everything from vaccines to cell therapies for things like cancer, regenerative medicine, which is really about repairing damaged tissues,
Wow.
and even cultivated protein solutions, which is basically a fancy way of saying lab-grown meat.
Right. So they're kind of all over the map in terms of what they're trying to do with this technology.
Yeah, they have a really diverse portfolio.
It's a pretty ambitious vision. I
Absolute.
was looking at their website, and they talk a lot about environmental responsibility,
Yeah.
public health advancements, which makes sense given the kind of things they're working on.
Sure.
But there's also this term industrial sovereignty.
Uh-huh.
What does that even mean?
So industrial sovereignty in this context really refers to making this kind of bio-based production more accessible and less reliant on sort of traditional and often resource-intensive methods. So imagine a future where countries could produce their own essential medicines or food locally using these bioreactors. They'd be less dependent on complex global supply chains. And they could also minimize their environmental impact. It's about empowering local industries to create solutions in a way that's both sustainable and self-sufficient.
I see. So it's kind of about democratizing access to this technology.
In a way,
So we've
yes.
talked about what they're trying to achieve, but how does this bioreactor technology actually work?
Well, at its core, a bioreactor is essentially like a controlled environment that provides cells with everything they need to grow and multiply. So we're talking about the right nutrients, oxygen temperature, and so on. And Foods is claiming to have developed a highly scalable and cost-effective bioreactor platform that can produce large quantities of cells at a low cost, which really opens up all those diverse applications we were just talking about.
So they're saying they can make things like lab-grown meat affordable, accelerate breakthroughs in regenerative
See
medicine,
the idea?
and basically revolutionize biopharmaceutical production.
Yeah, they're aiming high.
It all sounds very impressive.
It does.
But I have to ask, are there any limitations or challenges they might face?
Oh, of course, scaling up any technology comes with its own unique set of challenges. And for Foods, one hurdle will be ensuring consistent quality and safety across such large-scale production. I mean, imagine you're growing trillions upon trillions of cells. You need to make sure each one is doing what it's supposed to, and that the final product is safe for human use. Another challenge is going to be optimizing the nutrient mixtures and growth factors for each type of cell. Different cells have different needs, and figuring out the perfect recipe for each one can be complex and costly.
That makes sense. It's like trying to find the perfect growth conditions for millions of tiny little chefs,
That's a great analogy.
each one working on a different dish,
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
at the same time.
You got it.
And I was also curious about something I saw on their website.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned leveraging a platform called 3D Experience
Oh, right. Yeah.
from a company called Dassault Systems.
Yes.
How does that fit into the picture?
Well, they're actually planning to create a digital twin of their bioreactor using that platform. It's essentially a virtual replica that lets them simulate and optimize the entire production process before they even build the physical bioreactor.
So it's kind of like a giant high-tech simulator for their bioreactor.
You could say that.
And what are the benefits of having something like that?
It allows them to do incredibly detailed analysis and testing, so they can experiment with different parameters, troubleshoot potential problems, and refine the design, all virtually, which saves a lot of time and resources in the long run. This digital twin approach is particularly useful for a company like Fudz, who are still in the development phase of their bioreactor.
So they're really banking on this bioreactor technology
They are.
to be the foundation of their vision for a sustainable bioeconomy.
Yeah, it seems to be the cornerstone of their strategy.
But it's important to remember that it's still under development, right?
Absolutely. It's still early days. They have a bold vision for the future, but they're still in the process of making that vision a reality.
So while this future sustainable bioeconomy might not be just around the corner,
Right.
it sounds like Fudz is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with bioproduction.
Oh, for sure. They're definitely pioneers in this field.
And I guess that leaves us with a final question.
Okay.
What other industries could be impacted by this type of sustainable bioproduction in the future?
Well, I think that's the most exciting part. This technology has the potential to transform not just the industries that Fudz is currently targeting, but countless others as well. We could see applications in areas like agriculture, material science, even environmental remediation. The possibilities are really vast, and I think that's what makes this such a fascinating area to watch.
I completely agree. It's definitely a space to keep an eye on.
Totally.
Well, thanks for breaking all that down for us.
It was my pleasure.
I think we've all learned a lot about the potential of sustainable bioproduction today.
I hope so.
And it'll be interesting to see how Fudz and other companies in this field continue to innovate and shape the future.
I'm excited to see what they come up with next.
All right. That's it for this deep dive.
Great.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
Always asking questions.